I'm not sure if that's it.
Yes, you need one of those. Everybody has. I don't see you on you. You said there was a little one here the whole time. I'm very excited. There's actually one is usually just one. There's not enough room for a million.
No.
So each million they put, as soon as it hits a million, they put a one.
They put a one.
And then
It's true.
so there's a million Bangladeshis.
It's true.
And one guy lived in India. Okay, we started learning the Rebbe's explanation of the end of Ois Aleph. It's in the Rebbe's first mimer. It's Ois Daled in the Rebbe's first mimer. We'll start from the beginning again because we only did about 3 or 4 lines of it. Rabbeinu Zokin Mevar, the Alter Rebbe explains, the ultimate purpose of the downward emanation of the worlds, in other words, the creation of worlds, v'yiridosam, and the descent from one world to another, it's not for the upper worlds, which are amazing places of powerful godly revelation. It's not for those worlds. Why? The Rebbe gives an amazing answer that we say yesterday. Because by definition, a state of revelation is yirida, is a descent from a higher level. Because if I'm looking at something and I see clearly, and that whatever it is that I'm looking at is expressing a state of revelation as opposed to a state of hiddenness. So what is it that's revealed? The source of the thing. In other words, what I'm looking at is a descent from a higher level of reality. And that's what this is revealing to me. It's not hiding that. It hides that. All of the upper worlds reveal it. It's impossible to say, when Atzmus had this taiva for dir b'tachtonim, it was not to go to a lower level. It was for Atzmus itself to be revealed. And perhaps even a higher level, but that's a higher level than Atzmus obviously doesn't exist. Dehine, Yadua, Habriya hu rak b'koyach ha'atzmus. This is as far as we had read this, but we didn't explain it. Habriya hu rak b'koyach ha'atzmus. What's wrong? We're in the addition. Oh, you didn't get yesterday, Tucker.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. The Buriya is rak b'koyach ha'atzmus. Chassidus explains at great length that the whole notion of Bria Yesh Mi'ayin is Mikoyach Ha'atzmus. Meaning, a certain level of godly light expresses itself in Kalim in a way that's completely unnatural. If Atzilus is giving birth, what should Atzilus give birth to?
Bria.
Why in the world would Atzilus give birth to Bria? What do cows give birth to? Cows. What do horses give birth to? Horses. What do apple seeds give birth to? Apples. So what should Atzilus give birth to? Atzilus. Now you're right, it does give birth to Bria, but it shouldn't. It's completely unnatural. Right? So how can it possibly be that one state of reality gives birth to a completely different state of reality? To put it in different words, how does Ayin give birth to Yesh? We call the transformation from Olam HaAtzilus into Olam HaBriya, Bria Yesh Mi'ayin, the creation of something from nothing. Now, obviously the nothing isn't really nothing. Interestingly enough, the something's not even something, but Beseder, the something is something. What is it? It's created reality. What's the nothing? It's not created reality. The nothing that it is it's not created. Okay. But those are two different states of reality, Yesh and Ayin. Excuse me. Right? It's in parentheses. Olam HaAtzilus is referred to as Yesh relative to levels above it. Right? Not Yesh created, but Yesh, a level of reality where finitude comes into some state of revelation, because after all, there's 10 spheres. So relative to everything above it, it's really quite astounding how different Atzilus is to everything above it. What is Atzilus the beginning of? What level of light begins in Elam Atzilus? We talked about in the first.
Infinite.
What?
Infinite.
Or infinite light begins in Elam Atzilus? He asked incredulously. What kind of light begins in Elam Atzilus? We talked about it at length. Memalei, Yefeh. Or Memalei begins in Elam Atzilus. That's what Rabbi taught us in the first days. Right? What level of light transcends those levels? Called our Seviv. Right? But Memalei is a level of light that is revealed in Elam Atzilus, and so to speak, the first place where that level of light comes into revelation is Elam Atzilus. And what is the light Mimalei? Spheres, which themselves are godly. I mean, even the Kalim of the spheres are godly. Okay, not just the Or. The Or of everything is godly. The Kalim are godly. Okay, that's the unique characteristic of Elam Atzilus. So Elam Atzilus is not created reality. But relative to reality above it, my goodness gracious, what's 10? What's that all about? Okay, so sometimes Elam Atzilus, if you're learning Maimarim that are discussing levels beyond Elam Atzilus, sometimes Elam Atzilus relative to those levels will be called Yesh. But that Yesh doesn't mean created reality, it just means a state of reality that seems to be somewhat on some revealed level less obviously revealing the notion of God's oneness. Even though if you go to Atzilus, you're not hung up by the fact that there are 10 spheres. It's obviously one God. Okay. So Atzilus, it's all relative, in other words. Okay, but Atzilus is relative to what's below it. Atzilus is called Ayin. Non-exist, non-creation. Okay, so how can that state of reality possibly come in? How can that state of reality possibly be the source for another state of reality called Yesh? Those are two completely different states of reality. How can you plant a peach pit and get an apple tree? It doesn't work. So there must be some supernatural force that's acting on both of these states of reality that is beyond both of them. Because obviously, naturally, Ayin can't give birth to Yesh, and naturally, Yesh can't come from Ayin. Camels can't come from horses, and horses can't give birth to camels. It's a two-way street. Okay, so what is it that could allow a horse to give birth to a camel? Something beyond the horse and beyond the camel. What could allow the light of Atzilus to be the source of a reality called Bria? Something beyond both. That's how Chassidus explains the idea of Bria Yesh Mi'ayin. That's what the Rebbe is saying here. Keich Atzmus. Dine. Yedua. Da Bria Hurak B'Keich Atzmus. Now, the most powerful expression of that is actually the creation of the physical world, because that's the world that is more contrary, at least in a revealed state, to godly reality than any other state. Fourth line, as it says in Igersa Kedesh, again, we read this yesterday, we just didn't explain it. The essence of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, three different states of reality, which we've talked about. We're not going to talk about at length now, we're just going to mention them because we know what they are. Kalim, the source of what you and I would call finite reality, or infinite revelation, and Etzem, the essence of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, which is obviously beyond both of those, right? As we've mentioned countless times, the Kadosh Baruch Hu is not infinite, he's beyond the infinite, he's the source of infinite, he's the source of finite. Infinite is limited, it can't be expressed in finite, God can. The philosophers got it all wrong, because they were talking about the wrong God when they asked the questions about how an infinite God can express himself, can be revealed in a finite world. Wrong question, because God's not infinite. And okay, it's like asking how can a peach pit grow an apple tree? Well, but I planted an apple pit. So it's not a very good question, is it? Okay, I mean, I got the premise of the question is all off. Right? Okay. the premise of the question, how can an infinite God create a finite world, is off. It's just not true. An infinite God didn't create a finite world. A beyond infinite God is the source of a finite world, just like he's the source of infinite godly life. What's the question asked in Chassidus all the time? And this question is asked constantly and explained constantly. How can the infinite godly light be the source of a finite world? Oh, that's a question. And ultimately, what's the answer? Koach Atzmos. A level beyond infinite, a level beyond finite. What can bring two opposites into a state of harmony? Something beyond both. Right? If I'm more powerful than the two north poles of the magnet, I can push the poles together. It's not a problem. Right? Even though naturally they repel, but if I'm more powerful than them, I can put them together with no problem whatsoever. So Koach Atzmos. And what can we say about that level of godly reality? Very little. But there is something we can say that's really quite astounding. Shemitziuse hu miatzmuse. These are the last words we read yesterday, even though we didn't explain them in any way, shape, or form. We just read them and then went back to the beginning of the chapter, of the paragraph. Hashem, his existence is from himself, literally. What does that mean? He has no previous source. And again, we talked about this yesterday. And every time we've ever mentioned Atzmus, that's basically all you can say about Atzmus. Atzmus is what's called Yesh Amiti, true being. What's the ultimate arbiter of true being? Doesn't rely on anything else for its being. It is. Why? Because it is. It's its own source of energy, so to speak. Every other level of reality, the highest level of godly light down to the lowest little ant scurrying around on your kitchen floor, everything has a source and something above it, except one state of reality called Atzmos, the essence of the Boruch. Just is. Where did it come from? It didn't. What's its purpose? Doesn't have it. What does it do? Doesn't do anything. Just is. Absolute isness. And when you believe in God, that's what you believe in. Meaning, belief in the Eibishter means that's what it means. Believing in God, the creator of the world, that shouldn't be belief. That should be something you understand intellectually, can explain to people in a very succinct and clear way how God created the world. Yeah?
Is Atzilus not part of creation?
No.
Oh.
Atzilus is one of the four worlds, but it's not part of creation. We're not talking about Atzilus now, we're talking about Atzmus.
No, I mean, we mentioned when you said...
We were talking about Atzilus before, yes. Atzilus is not part of creation. Atzilus is part of what we call Seder Hishtalshelus, the orderly downward emanation of godly light through four worlds. It's one of the four worlds, but it's not a world of creation, it's a world of creator. God the creator is Malchus of Atzilus. Bereshis bara Elokim is Malchus of Atzilus, giving birth to the first level of reality called creation, which is called Elam Abriya, the world of creation. Atzilus is the Eibishter. Yeah.
Rabbi, you said Atzmut was called true being. How was it called? Yesh?
Yesh Amiti. Emet. Yesh Amiti. And what's Yesh Amiti? It doesn't have a source. Because after all, if B has a source in A, then does B truly exist? No, A truly exists. B is just an expression of A's existence. Which I don't have, there must be another copy. I made so many copies yesterday. No, we're learning the Rebbe's Mimer from Tafshin Yud Aleph. We're learning a piece from the Rebbe's Mimer from okay, you just have to look on with either Moshe or Izzy over there. I'm sorry, I'll get you a copy, but I don't understand why there aren't more. I thought I made enough. Whatever. So if B is if B is dependent upon A for its existence, then what exists? A, not B. Okay, and anything that depends on anything else for its existence doesn't have true existence. It has existence dependent on something else, which might have true existence or might not. Right? The only level of reality that has true existence is Atzmus, the essence of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu himself, mamish, mamish, mamish. No name. It's not or. It's not kli. It's beyond Or, beyond Kli. It's the source of Or, the source of Kli, even though the Rebbe Shab says very clearly did not refer to, I mean, obviously Atzilus is the source of, Atzmus is the source of Or. But he said to define it as the source of Or is limiting it, because when you're defining it in a certain way, it's beyond definition. That is what it does, but you can't define it that way, because that's limiting it.
So everything has a source except for Atzilus.
Atzmus. You're making the same mistake as me. Don't follow my mistakes. Don't get yourself in trouble. Atzmus, yes, the essence of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Just is. Didn't come from anywhere. Has no big. What's unique about that? So people like to try to understand, and Chassidus talks about this a lot. The notion of Ein Sof. What exactly is that? When Kabbalah talks about Ein Sof, so what is that? It's a big machlokes in Kabbalah. What it is also, right? Is it Atzmus? Is it not Atzmus? Generally in Chassidus we say it's not. Why? Well, because what's the difference between Ein Sof and Atzmus? Ein Sof has no end. Atzmus has no beginning. No beginning is much more impressive. What do you mean no beginning? Everything has a beginning. Everything, you're right. Everything has a beginning. The highest levels of godly light have some beginning in some point in non-time where Kadosh Baruch Hu said, light would be cool. Boom, there's light. Atzmus is. Where'd it come from? Didn't. What's it do? Doesn't. What's its purpose? It's completely impossible for us to understand. Okay, say the part of you and I that connects to that part of the Eibishter is called Emunah. Because Emunah is what allows us to connect to something that Seichel can't understand. Emunah is a power of the soul that's far beyond Seichel, far beyond the intellect. So even though my intellect can't connect to it, my Emunah can. Why? Well, because your soul is rooted in that place. And your Emunah comes from that place in your soul that is connected directly to Atzmus Ad Kedei Kach, that your soul in that place doesn't know whether it's a soul or whether it's the Eibishter. So that part of us can connect to that Atzmus. Now you and I can connect to Atzmus by virtue of the fact that we do mitzvahs, and mitzvahs allow us a connection to Atzmus. And the Rebbe is now basically explaining that every time you do Iskafia, yes, the Frierdiker Rebbe said Seviv. Our Rebbe is now defining that. Ultimately, you should know it's Atzmus. It's not Seviv. It's beyond Seviv. That's what's being taught to us right now, which is really quite astounding. How is that? Why is that? Well, that's what the Rebbe is going to explain to us. Hu levadei. That level of godliness alone, has the power and the ability, livra yesh, to create yesh mi ayin ve'efes hamuchlat mamash, from absolute nothingness. Again, nothingness means something completely and totally not created. Right? How do you get a horse to give birth to a cow? If you're beyond the horse and you're beyond the cow, so the horse can give birth to a cow. That's a supernatural. If there's something beyond nature, so that can happen. If there's nothing beyond nature, that can't happen. So if there's nothing beyond the ayin and beyond the yesh, then there's nothing that can allow these two to have anything to do with each other. So one second, I'm sorry, just 1 second. If there's nothing beyond light and there's nothing beyond kelim in general, then those two couldn't have anything to do with each other, because they're two completely contradictory states of reality. One's infinite, one's finite. What has infinite got to do with finite? Well, if you're beyond both, you can somehow force infinite to express itself in finite. It's called gevura. Yeah?
So when you were asking how can something infinite be the source of something finite, the light, the Ein Sof, which is the infinite light, it itself has a source which is beyond itself, right?
B'diuk. Because it itself can't express itself in finite. It's infinite. An infinite number can't be a finite number. Once you turn it into a finite number, it's no longer an infinite number. Right? Just by definition, that's just the way infinite and finite work. Right? You and I live in a place where infinite and finite are dancing constantly. But fine, but what you and I experience is finite. We don't experience infinite. We know there's infinite. Where's the infinite? Well, How many points in space are there between these two finite points in space? An infinite amount of points in space. That's pretty cool. So where's infinite? In there. You see it? No. As soon as I make one of those points a finite point, so then I've brought it into a state of revelation, and now it's finite. It's still part of an infinite set, but it's finite. Oh, so it must be if from here to here is an infinite amount of points, from here to here is a half amount of infinite points, right? No, it doesn't work that way. It still is, yeah.
So the better way to phrase it then would be.
Don't say that.
No, I mean for me personally. No, I'm not saying. No, I
don't say that. No, excuse me.
that.
Excuse me. Don't say that. Don't apologize for saying it. Don't explain why you're saying it. Don't ever say that.
Yeah.
That's not the right way to express ourselves when we're talking to not just a teacher, anybody. If you're talking to your chavrusa and you say, oh, the better way of saying that, that's not the right way to talk to another person. We don't talk that way. We say, oh, another way perhaps of saying that is, then it works.
My apologies.
Okay, not to me, to you.
No, yeah, I didn't mean it the way.
I know,
Yeah.
but don't say that.
So, another way then of viewing the dichotomy there, then would it be that God is limitless, where everything else is limited?
Yes,
Okay.
meaning infinite is limited.
Mm-hmm.
It's not finite, but it's limited. Yeah.
Example, an example.
A better example? What do you come on and say?
An example of infinite finite together was the Holy Ark.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. Right? Nimnaha nimnaot, an expression of God being the paradox of paradoxes. That the Aron took up space, had dimensions in space that were very, very precise. So, and it was in space, but didn't take up space to the extent that when you measured from the wall to the Aron and from the wall to the middle of the room, it was exactly the same measurement. Right? That's one of the mashalim, so to speak, in Gashmias for the revelation of Atzmus and Kodesh HaKadoshim. In space. And if it wasn't exactly 1.5 ames by 1.5 ames by 2.5 ames, then it would take up space. Because it had the exact dimensions in space that the Eibishter told us to make it with. For that reason, it didn't take up space, which is rather dichotomous. That's what the Rashba refers to it as nimnaha, the Eibishter, as nimnaha nimnaot, the paradox of paradoxes. Right? Meaning the paradox itself is a paradox. Okay? That's the Eibishter. Okay, so what level of reality is responsible ultimately? Now you say everything starts in Atzmus. Okay, but say everything starts in Atzmus. That's true. But the existence of infinite light, so it's sourced in Atzmus, but when you look at a certain level of infinite godly light, you will see that it can be sourced in a level slightly higher than it, and that's not something contradictory. Whereas when you look at created reality and realize what its source is, it's very contradictory, right? And what allows for that contradiction? A level beyond the source and the cause and the effect. Hainu, she's havus, the creation of the world. Einem mihagiluyim is not ultimately from giluyim, revealed reality. What might be a synonym for revealed reality? One short little word.
Creation. No.
Or. Chassidus uses that word. Giluyim, it means or. Or is revealed reality. Right? Or is the word that we use to describe revealed godliness. Right? It's not or. Or is a creation. Or is somehow physical. It's pretty, it is physical stuff, right? Somehow. Okay. So God's not or. That's a mushal you and I use to describe godly revelation. Ki'im mi'atzmus, but rather from atzmus. As the Rebbe will explain. Has explained and will explain. Therefore, it's impossible to say the ultimate purpose of this bringing into being of worlds, it's for the upper worlds. Because what are the upper worlds evidently all about? Yerido. Now we'll see why. Right? Even Elam Atzilus, who Gilui Helim is the revelation of that which was hidden, and we saw that in the first chapter in the Frierdiker Rebbe's Maimer, and that means that what comes into a state of revelation in Elam Atzilus that was heretofore hidden, review of the first chapter, which I'm sure everybody does review every night, so this is something that you remember very, very well. Is this an example of deafening silence? Is this an example of
question?
What does it mean, Gilui Helam, the revelation of that which was hidden? And how is it Silus, a place of the revelation of that which was heretofore hidden?
The 10 spheres.
The 10 spheres, beautiful. Right, thank you, Doctor. You've restored my faith in humankind. Right, okay. That what? Gilui Helam means those aspects of godly reality which are in a state of concealment, so to speak, above Atzilus. What does that mean? God's chesed, God's gvura, God's chokhmah, God's bina. Do all those levels of reality exist in a Kadosh Boruch Hu? Yes, of course they do. Are they in a state of revelation in infinite light? No specific reality is revealed in infinite light. That's the nature of infinite light. It doesn't reveal the specific. It just reveals the oneness of everything. So you can't differentiate between one state and another state. It's rather difficult to do that in infinite reality. Even though we do talk about higher and higher and lower levels of the infinite light, Beseder, seeing it as a kav, so as a line of light. So you can talk about a higher place and a lower, but any particular level, what's it revealing? Absolute oneness, unity. What's it not revealing? Differentiation. 10. What comes into revelation in Elam Atzilus? Gilui, the revelation of that which was heretofore hidden. What was heretofore hidden? All of these different aspects of godly reality. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Chod, Yesod, Malchus. Chesed, Chochmah, Bina. Right? Different aspects of godliness that are real and they're there. They're always there. But they're not there in a revealed state. In Gashmias, what's a mashal for that? That little tiny embryo that is about this big. What's in there? Everything. It's all there. Hands are there, feet are there, eyes are there, noses are there, ears are there. Everything. Toes. Little toes. Little teeny weeny baby toes. Their toes are absolutely adorable. They have these teeny weeny little toes. And okay, when they're born. In embryo, what's there? Everything's there. What's the whole process of 9 months in their mother's stomach? Gilui Helam. Everything that's hidden in there comes into a state of revelation until Bezrat Hashem, the baby's born, and there's 2 arms and 2 legs and a head and a nose and ears and all this stuff. It was all there, just had to come into a state of revelation, which is really just astounding how it all happens. Okay. So that's in Gashmias, all the more so in Ruchnias. So that's Atzilus, Gilui Helam, the revelation of what was heretofore hidden. Even Atzilus, which is such a lofty world, all it's revealing is godly reality. What is it still? Still a descent from a level beyond it. That level's called Kesser of Atzilus, which is called Arech. Okay, say that we'll get there at some point, not now. V'im kain, if so, you read them, you're upon of his Baruch. It's a descent from a higher level of godly light. Ki kishahayu orus Atzilus, that when these lights of Atzilus, meaning, again, light means different aspects of godly revelation. When these states of godly revelation, godly energy, were behelamam, were in a state of concealment, before they came into a state of revelation in Atzilus. Hayu b'madrega gever arba yesod, they're at a much higher level. Okay, and coming down into Atzilus is exactly that, coming down into Atzilus. Down, obviously not down in physical terms. V'od, the cave in Shazer Rak Giluyim, since this is only or. When we say only or is pretty impressive, you know? Or is infinite godly reality, but what is or not? Okay, it's not finite, that's what's, so to speak, below it. What else is it not? I don't know what that means. I mean, you can't say it that way in Chassidus, because is it not Yud Kei Vav Kei? Yud Kei Vav Kei is the source of or. And usually Hashem means Yud Kei Vav Kei.
Revealed godliness.
It is revealed godliness. That's exactly what it is. That's what or is. So to say or is not revealed godliness is saying green is not green. So that's not true. So what is or not?
Source.
Okay, what's the source called? Atzmus. It's not Atzmus. It's not the essence of God. What's sunlight not?
The sun.
Sun. It's not sun. Sunlight. It's not the sun.
It's a byproduct of the.
It's a byproduct of it. Okay, yep, 100%. We know what it is. What isn't it? It's not the sun. The sun is some densely packed gases burping away constantly up there. The whole thing is like beyond, that itself is like beyond our understanding. Okay, there's this thing up there that does what it does, and Baruch Hashem it does. Okay, so now what comes out of it? What's the energy that comes out of that thing? It's called sunlight. That's what we call it. Okay, so that really is light. That's light. That's mamish physical light. It has physical properties. Right, it's traveling through space at a certain speed. It's like it's physical reality. Okay, when we talk about godly light, it's not physical. Light is just a mushal for godly energy, revealed godly energy. You and I call it light because it's just an incredible mushal for it. It's the source of that mushal. It's an interesting question, right? I have to trust someone who once said to me, because I don't know myself. I've never seen it earlier. That doesn't mean it isn't. I've just never seen it. That the ultimate source of using light as a mushal to express godly energy is the Alter Rebbe. I don't know. I mean, Baal Shem Tov doesn't ever refer to light. I don't know. I have to learn, how many pieces the Baal Shem. You learn a little piece here and there. Quote, pick up a say. The Maggid doesn't talk about or. Now it might be the Alter Rebbe heard it from the Maggid and wrote it all down, and then that's why we call it. So I'm not sure when I say that, but someone who knows more than me said that once. So I heard him say that. So I'm just repeating what he said, but I'm not sure.
Sorry, ask a question. Schneizal, and how does it?
Shnei or?
Yes.
Yeah, Beseder, that's his name. Two lights. So it's true, the Baal Shem Tov talked about him being two lights, the light of Chassidus, the light of Nigla. But in terms of describing godliness, in terms of light, when the Baal Shem Tov talked on his birthday, that there will be a new neshama that descends into what's the week of Chavdal Tevis. I guess we're allowed to talk about the Alter Rebbe, right? That we're allowed to talk about it. But today's the Rambam's Yortzeit. You should learn a little, do a better job in Limud Rambam today than a normal day. Even though I'm sure you do an excellent job every day, but take a little extra time to learn Rambam today, learn an extra halacha in Rambam today. So Rambam's Yortzeit. The Rambam was a rather important Jew. So the when the Baal Shem Tov talked about the Alter Rebbe, so he said that there's a new neshama coming into the world. And a new neshama is really quite something, al pi Chassidus. It's not, most people, I mean, this is what I always thought until someone set me right, that a new neshama meant that a neshama that had never had a gilgul before, that had never come down. But that's not what a new neshama is, al pi Chassidus. It's even wilder. A new neshama is a neshama that doesn't come from Adam Rishon.
What?
Not part of Adam Rishon's neshama. There have been 2 or 3 in the history of the world. Baal Shem Tov said the Alter Rebbe is a new neshama, and he was really wanted to meet him. But it was decreed, and this is what he said to the Maggid. He said, "He's not mine, he's yours." And evidently he saw the Alter Rebbe when he was a child, but he was never taught the Alter Rebbe. And he understood, that was his Mesiras Nefesh, that he understood that the Alter Rebbe was not his, so to speak. That's how he said it. He's not mine, he's yours. Meaning, this is your neshama for the Maggid. This is the neshama you're going to teach. So the Alter Rebbe learned from the Maggid, not from the Baal Shem Tov. Now, the Baal Shem Tov used, people use the word or, because there's something called or in the world, right? So, but the way the Alter Rebbe uses or in Chassidus, and the way we use it all the time. So evidently, again, I'm not sure that what I'm saying is true. I'm just repeating what I heard from someone who knows a lot more than me, and that's what they said. Is that really true? It'd be interesting to know. I have to look back further. You don't see the word in Kabbalah. Zayir doesn't show up. Not that I haven't learned a lot of Zayir, but any Zayir I've learned, I don't remember it being there. Okay. That's the Alter Rebbe. Baal Shem Tov wanted to know how this all works. New Neshama, wanted to meet the new Neshama, wanted to teach the new Neshama. His Mesiras Nefesh was he didn't. It was the Maggid's job. Imagine that, it's like, what? Evidently a few, I remember hearing someone once say that Mr. Shelach was a new Neshama. Right. Pretty early for a new neshama. That wasn't long after Adam Arisha. I don't know.
The Alter Rebbe, may I ask if the Alter Rebbe was one of the two neshamas in history?
I didn't say two. I said 2, 3, 4. Very few. I'm not sure how many. Very, very few.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. What?
Moshe Rabbeinu was one of them.
I was just asking, who was the first new neshama?
I don't know.
Okay.
Might have been Metusha. Might have been. I'm not sure.
How does that even work?
I don't know.
Okay.
The Baal Shem Tov also didn't know and wanted to see. I don't know how that works. But I guess it means they're a special person. That's what it means. And what's really, I remember sitting in a Farbrengen and listening to someone explain it. I'd never heard that. And so he smiled and said, we don't exactly understand what the new neshama is all about, okay, but what's really astounding is we can actually have a connection to him if we want. That's also pretty interesting. Because by connecting to the R Rebbe, so we're connecting to all of the Rebbeim, we're also connecting to the Alter Rebbe, and the Alter Rebbe is the beginning of it all. For us, meaning in terms of Chabadism. So we can't say that Atzmus is for Giluyim, because Atzmus is a level beyond Giluyim. That's why we're saying Rak Giluyim. That's why I asked you guys, what is Giluyim not? If you say it's only Giluyim, so what does that mean? I mean, Giluyim is pretty infinite godly reality. That's pretty impressive. So what does that mean? It's only Giluyim. So what is it not? Atzmus. Essence is a level beyond. It's a level beyond revealed reality. And again, that's why we've talked about this, but it's important to understand why is it that in Lubavitch we don't spend a lot of time getting all excited about Or. Spiritual inspiration. Doesn't mean inspiration is not nice. Of course it's nice, right? But ultimately what's it really all about? It's not about Or, it's about Etzem. It's about something beyond Or. That's what the Alter Rebbe said. I don't want this level of light. I don't want this level of light. I want you. Etzem. Now that's an amazing thing to say, because if I have this level of light or this level of light, I'm experiencing something unbelievably pleasant. Because I'll say, those levels of revelation are incredibly pleasant. One moment of the pleasure of Elam Haba is greater than all of the pleasure that could ever be experienced in this world by everybody who is ever in this world. One moment in Gan Eden is greater than all of that. All of the pleasure ever experienced by any human being or any animal, physical, spiritual, emotional, intellectual, all of the pleasure that could possibly be experienced in this world, Eilam Haba is greater than one moment of the pleasure of Eilam Haba is greater than that. Esoteric statement? No, it's in the 4th chapter of Pirkei Avos. You say it every summer at least 4 times. Right? It's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. It's not esoteric at all. Right? Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Yofer sha'achar shel keres ruach be'elam haba mikol chay elam hazeh. From all of this world. It doesn't mean it's a greater pleasure than you can experience in this world. It means that moment of pleasure is greater than all of this world. All of the pleasure that could possibly be or ever was experienced in this world. One moment of revelation is greater than that. The Alter Rebbe says, I don't want that. I just want you. Why? Is there any pleasure in you? No, there's no me in you. I'm not going to experience anything because I'm going to be completely enveloped by you and there won't be a me to experience you. It's just you. Okay. And that's what the Alter Rebbe was willing to do. Wow. Atzmus. Atzmus or bust. It's impossible to say that Atzmus is for the sake of revelation. Because it's beyond revelation. The ultimate purpose is this lower world. We still don't understand that. I don't get it. Right? Okay, but you can start to get it. What's not here? There's something not here. I wouldn't say that. Matter of fact, that's what is here. What's not here?
The ability to do mitzvahs.
What? The ability to do mitzvahs is not here? It's the only place to do mitzvahs. What's not here in Eilam Hazeh? What's not here in Eilam Hazeh? You said it, I think. Or, you're fair. Good job. Or, godly light is not revealed in this world. Is it here? Of course it's here. Is it revealed? No. Well, if godly light is all about revelation, so it's not really here, is it? Well, okay, of course it's here. You can't exist if it's not here, but you don't see it. In Eilam Abriya, do you see it? Whoa. In Eilam Yitzira, do you see it? Yeah, slightly less whoa, but yes, you certainly do. Not aware of anything else. Hey, a little bit aware. In Eilam Yitzira, you'll be a little bit aware of something else, but basically not. You'll be very, very intensely aware of godly light. Eilam Abriya, light, very powerful. Clear vessels allowing for the light to shine through in all its glory. Okay. Down here, coffee cups. Can't see. Anything in there? Okay, you and I know there is. That's why we get up early in the morning to learn Chassidus. But it doesn't mean I see it. All right? Is the from the coffee or the tea, from the Chassidus or the tea, right? The story with the Frierdiker Rebbe. Frierdiker Rebbe once walked by to Chassidim learning Chassidus Shabbos morning. And as he was walking by, he heard from behind him, So he turned around, they both had cups of tea on the table. It's cold, right, in Russia, right? So he turned around and said, was that from the tea or the Chassidus? Right, okay, pretty easy for the to be from the tea, right? The Chassidus might be, like, I don't get what's going on. What does he mean? What does he mean? Read it again. It's easy. A little bit left. Brazilian.
I didn't get a cup. You said I was going.
We have to arrange this. I'm not going to bring up a cup and then have you walk in with a cup, Doc. You want to arrange it? I'm in. You and I are going to meet downstairs. I'll make you a cup.
Down here,
Okay. What?
Down here we don't experience the light, but it is here.
It's here. We just don't experience it. But let's see what's really here. Let's see what the Mittler Rebbe says. Remember, he said this is the second time through the Rebbe is explaining things through all the Rebbeim. So he started with the Alter Rebbe. He's now going to the Mittler Rebbe. We pointed out yesterday the next paragraph, which we're not going to read, is the Tzemach Tzedek. This is the second time the Rebbe's done it. The first time, do you remember the subject matter the first time? We talked about it yesterday. It's just it's extra credit to remember. Do you remember? All right. Iker Shechina. What we said in the very beginning of the Maimer, the Iker Shechina b'tachtonim Maisa, the essence of the Shechina was in the lower realm. So the Rebbe explains what Iker Shechina is through all the Rebbeim, how they explain that idea. Ukemeshkas of Admar Emtsoi, the Mittler Rebbe. son of the Alter Rebbe, but Parsha Zu, in this Parsha, B'Shalom. I mean, that's when Yitzchak usually falls out. Be'inyan ha'hefresh bein Eilam HaSelyim le'Eilam Hazeh. What's the difference between the upper worlds and this world? There's lots of differences. We've talked about it. We've spent a great deal of time talking about it in the first chapter of Bosi leGani. That's what the Rebbe taught us at great length. Okay, but now the Rebbe is going to say it in one very succinct line. And it's not something we learned at all from the previous Rebbe in Bosi leGani. The Ba'elam Hazeh nirgash shemitziusei me'etzmosei. Wow. In Eilam Hazeh, it's felt that his existence is by virtue of himself. What does that mean? That means that you and I, our experience of our own existence is that we just are. Now, I might understand intellectually that I'm not, right? But my experience is that I just am. Right? I mean, where did I come from? Okay, Beseder, I understand that I come from the Eibishter and really I'm just an expression of godly light surging into me constantly and giving me existence. I'm aware of that intellectually. Experientially, I wish. What am I aware of in experience? When you wake up in the morning, what happens? It's me again. Here I am. It's me. I'm aware of my own conscious existence. Right? Am I aware of the godliness surging into me? No. Do I therefore say a statement, leGani lifanecha, thank you, Eibishter, for bringing my neshama back so that really the source of my vitality, which is my godly soul, is back in me and now I'm vital and conscious and I'm ready to go serve you. Rabbi Emunasecha, great is your faith in me that I'll actually use the time you're going to give me in this day for something of use. Okay, that's what we say first thing every morning. Pretty amazing thing to say. What does the Rebbe tell us? Just so that it'll be a fun experience tomorrow morning. Rebbe says that the essence of a Kadosh Baruch Hu is standing at the foot of our bed, so to speak, listening to our leGani. Etzem. Not any level of godly light. Don't look up and think you're going to see angels. Right? No, the Etzem of the Eibishter is standing there, whatever that means for Etzem to stand, I'm not sure. Right? And listening to our leGani. Right? Okay, wow. There's no Eilam Hazeh. We have this absolutely this fascinating experience. The very fact that you and I experience existence by virtue of ourselves, even though that experience is false, we do not exist by virtue of ourselves. But the experience is truly our experience. That is what we experience. So simply, what must be the source, the revealed source of our existence? What could give us such an experience? What level of reality could give us an experience of existence by virtue of ourselves? I don't know what that means.
This level of reality.
This is the source of me? This table is the source of me?
The experience as if we think that.
Right, so I want to know what could be the source of that experience? What could possibly give me that experience? I don't think this is a hard question based on what we've been learning. What?
Something that we can't.
Nefesh Bahamis gives me. Okay, that's true. My Nefesh Bahamis so I should say Baruch Atah Hashem Nefesh Bahamis Asher Bara Oti. That my Nefesh Bahamis created me. That's the source of me. That's true. That's not true. What? Atzmus. Atzmus. I don't understand. Why? This is not a hard question. What level of godly reality exists by virtue of itself? Atzmus. Does or exist by virtue of itself? No. So could godly or be the source of that experience that you and I have of existence by virtue of ourselves? No. How could or be the source of an experience that it itself doesn't have? How can a horse give birth to a camel? That doesn't work. Okay, so what could possibly be the source of what's on a revealed level? That's what's so astounding. Right? What's the revealed source of revealed? Not that you see it and you bump into it and you get a bruise. But the revealed source of that experience must be Atzmus, because that's the only level of reality that has such an experience, that truly does exist by virtue of itself. You and I don't exist by virtue of ourselves. That's false. But it's not false to say that we experience existence by virtue of ourselves. That's true. Who gave us that experience? Atzmus. The Eibishter himself. Mamish, mamish, mamish. Yes, ultimately our existence can be explained by virtue of the orderly downward emanation of godly light, of light into vessels, and those vessels become more and more of a yesh ad kedei kach that they end up in Elam Hazeh being yesh hagashmi, physical yesh, physical created existence. But that physical created existence is really unique, and that physical created existence has an experience of existence by virtue of itself. It's in no way, shape, or form revealing its source. It just seems to be. This cup was the same. This cup doesn't reveal its source in Elokus. If this cup were a malach, it reveals its source. This doesn't reveal its source. What's it revealing? Existence by virtue of itself. Is that true? Well, yes and no. Is there such a level called existence by virtue of itself? Yes. Does this cup embody that? Yes and no. No, in terms of what it's truly all about. It's truly just godly light clothed in such a form that it appears in this way, which is pretty wild. Okay. But there's also a level of reality in which this cup is revealing the notion of existence by virtue of itself. So what's it revealing? Atzmusa Yisbarach, the etzem of HaKadosh Baruch. Where is that revealed? There's only one place where that level of godliness is revealed. What's that place? Elam Hazeh, physical world. So when Atzmus said, I want to be revealed in a world, what did he create? A world without what? What if on a certain level, if this is revealed in the world, then there won't be a revelation of Atzmus. What, so to speak, can't be in that world in a revealed way? Or, because as soon as there's or, what am I no longer aware of? Atzmus. I'm blinded by the light. I can't see Atzmus. I see or, because or is amazing. What's Elam Hazeh? Atzmus. Who wants you to put on tefillin? Atzmus. Shem Yudke Vavke wants you to put on tefillin? What does that mean? The Eibishter wants you to put on tefillin. Who's the Eibishter? Atzmus Yisbarach, the Eibishter. He has this taiva for you to exist in a physical world and have physical mitzvahs to do. Why? Kacha! He just had a taiva. There's no reason why he wanted any of this. He wanted to be revealed in Elam Hazeh. Why did he want to be revealed in Elam Hazeh?
I don't understand, because aren't the malachs like still, like the malachim, they're still aware of the essence of, or no, they're just aware of?
Blinded by the light. A malach looks at you and is completely blown away.
So
You can do something that he only dreams of. He can't come close to what you can do. Because you can touch Atzmus, he can't. Not even close.
Well,
He has a good time up there.
Yeah.
And you might be annoyed down here. Okay, Seder. But he can't do what you can do. He can put on tefillin. Okay. He can give tzedakah. Go console another malach who's having a bad day. You know, the malach have a bad day? Is there such a thing? No. Can he grow? No. He's what's called umdim. Stands in one place. It's an amazing place. It's one place. What are you called? You're called mahalchim. You move. And you change. You progress. Learn. Forget. Learn it again. Only down here. Let's finish we're going to skip the brackets, which means we'll be able to finish the paragraph in 2-3 minutes. The Beilam Hazeh nirgesh shemitziyisim etzmusay. Skip the brackets. Va'av shezeu rak bar gashosa. And even though this is only his feeling, it's not true. We don't truly exist by virtue of ourselves. We exist because God gives us existence. Mikol moken, nevertheless, even though it's only our feeling, it's only our experience, hine ze gufa, this fact, sheyeh nidmeh kol panim, that it appears at least, shemitziyusum esmusay, that his existence is by virtue of itself. How could I possibly even have such an experience? Zeh mipnei, that's because sheshorsha, his source, our source, mi'atzmus, is from atzmus, shemitziyusum esmusay. That's why Elam Hazeh is not a Yerida. Because what's the Yerida? Yerida is Or. Or is all about a Yerida. That's what the Rebbe said. If you see revealed godly reality, then what you're aware of is that this revealed godly reality came from a higher place than it. In this world, you do not see the source of the world. That doesn't mean it doesn't have a source. Of course it has a source. And it has a source exactly the same way Olam HaBriya and Olam HaYetzirah have a source in a level directly above it. Yes, that's the way the world works, there's no question. Malchus of Yetzirah is the source of Olam Hazeh Gashmi, or to be perfectly in a slightly more technical way, so Malchus of Yetzirah is the source of what's called Asiya Haruchni, spiritual Olam Yetzirah, Asiya, which is the source of this world, right? Meaning that malach that stands on top of every blade of grass, hitting it, grow. That image in Chazal, right? That famous medrash. What's that malach? The first level of metaphysical reality that is directly responsible for physical existence. So when the physicist turns up his microscope and keeps turning it up and turning it up and turning it up and turning it up until he sees the smallest particle he can see, but there's some energy acting on that smallest particle to cause that smallest particle to do something. So that energy, which he can't see with his microscope, is called metaphysical energy. That's Asiya Ruchni, the Ruchnius of the physical world. Okay, that level of metaphysical reality that's directly responsible for physical reality. So Chazal called that the malach that's standing on top of the grass going grow. Grass doesn't grow just because it's in ground. Grass grows because there's godly energy imbued in the ground and imbued in the grass. And when those two things come into contact, so what's called koyach hatzameach in the ground, that power of growth that exists in the ground, will allow the grass to grow. Where's that koyach hatzameach come from? God. Okay, and that comes from so to speak, a very some level of godly light that's clothed in the ground and allows the ground to be a source of growth. Because if you put the seed on the cement, nothing will happen. If you put it in the ground, something will. Because the ground has a power called koyach hatzameach, the power of growth. Amazing. So, and it's interesting that we talked about this before. It doesn't grow ground; it grows something else. Right. So the closest mushal we can get to Yesh Miyayim, right? That one thing gives birth to something else. What grows out of the ground isn't more ground. You water the ground, it doesn't become the mountain. It becomes an apple tree. Okay, we know there's a seed in there. So that happens. That's true. There's all that. But you and I don't see that down here. So since we don't see it, what are we very intensely aware of? Existence by virtue of itself. If we're smart, we realize that we don't exist by virtue of ourselves, and we hopefully will try to connect ourselves to godliness. But what level of godliness is revealed in this world? When you and I connect to Elokus, what level of Elokus, when we connect to the godliness that's giving us existence, what level of Elokus are we connecting to? Atzmus. Why? Well, what else could give us this incredible experience of existence by virtue of itself? That's why on a certain level, the shorish of the Nefesh Bahamis is higher than the shorish of the Nefesh Elokis. And that's why, Lasid Lava, B'Meis Mashiach, it says, Beferish, that now your Nefesh Bahamis gets its sustenance from your Nefesh Elokis. Lasid Lava, your Nefesh Elokis is going to get its sustenance from your Nefesh Bahamis. Because your Nefesh Bahamis is a more powerful expression of Atzmus than your Nefesh Elokis, because your Nefesh Elokis is Or, and your Nefesh Bahamis is Atzmus. Think about it.
Nefesh Bahama is basically our animalistic soul, right?
Not basically, that's what it is. That's the translation of it, and you're absolutely right. That's what it is. It's our animal soul. What does your animal soul allow you to experience? Existence by virtue of yourself. That's where it comes from. Right? Tzaddikim have the best of both worlds. They experience absolute godly revelation, but they appreciate the fact that it's all atzmos. How? I don't know.
But I thought they didn't have.
They have a nefesh habahamis.
They have nefesh bahamas.
Just that nefesh habahamis is completely godly. It's not like yours and mine.
Transform the team.
Meaning they have a vitalizing soul that's keeping their body alive in there, right? It's not like yours and mine. Right? Now, I wouldn't define theirs the way we define ours. It's just been transformed into godliness. Come, let's finish the paragraph. Nimsa, move on, therefore it's understood. Shakavana, this is the first mimer the Rebbe ever taught us. 5 minutes into being Rebbe, this is what he's telling us. I think it's going to be a wild ride. Nimsa muvan, shekavana b'habriya. The intention, now it's not that this is new, he's quoted the Alter Rebbe and the Mittler Rebbe. Nimsa muvan, shekavana b'habriya, the intention of the creation, v'ishtalshalus, and the downward emanation of light. Eina bishvil elamis elyonim is not for the upper worlds. Why? Shinyanam giluyim, they're all about or. And or is amazing, but or is not what it's all about. It's all about etzem. It's all about essence. Ki ima kavanu elam hazat tachtan. The Eibishter wants this physical world. Why? Because what's revealed in this physical world? Essence. Existence by virtue of itself. So when you and I do a mitzvah down in this world, we're connecting to etzem. Because etzem is, once you understand what etzem is, so to speak, to the extent that we can, and we can describe it in one way, that it's existence by virtue of ourselves, and we realize, wow, that's actually an experience that you and I have. It's a false experience, but it's not false that we have that experience. The very fact that we have that experience means that the source of our being is etzem. So there's a revelation of etzem down here in Olam Hazeh. Shenid meloi, it appears to him, she'eina gilui, that his existence is not a function of light emanating downward, which it is, ki'im, but rather what appears to us, atzmi, that our existence is essential, we just are. Hainu, what does that mean? Mitziyusim etzmusa, that we exist by virtue of ourselves. And if we use that reality for godliness, then we reveal the highest state of godliness. Of course, it's a gamble, because what can we really believe? That we exist by virtue of ourselves. We could live that every moment and spend our lives expressing ourselves. Then we're in trouble. Or we could spend our lives trying to express elokus. Then what we're doing is beyond belief. Malachim can't touch us. But it's a battle, because it's very easy down here in Olam Hazeh to spend our lives just getting very into the Mitziyusim Asmuso aspect of it. Right? Hainu Mitziyusim Asmuso. Through our Avodah down here in Olam Hazeh, where we try to overcome that very, very powerful experience of self. And now we understand on an even deeper level what the Rebbe means, what the Frierdiker Rebbe means when he told us about Iskafia v'Isafcha. Al Yedei Iskafia, subduing what? Not allowing that experience to take over my behavior, meaning allowing my objective understanding of what truth is to rule over the subjective experience of my own existence by virtue of itself. Objectively, I don't exist by virtue of myself. Subjectively, I experience that I do. What's iskafia? Overcoming that subjective experience with objective truth. But the objective truth now is much more powerful. The objective truth now is that really you are atzmus. It's just that you have to relate to the atzmus mitzad the elokus of it and not mitzad your own yeshus of it. Al yedei iskafia v'isafcha. Nizgala atzmus. So what's revealed down here? Atzmus, the essence of the Eibishter. What level of godliness is responsible for the existence of this world? Atzmos, in a revealed way. Once you realize what Atzmos is and what this world is, you realize this world is a revelation of Atzmos. It's a revelation of existence by virtue of itself. That's what this world is. Wow. But again, I can get stuck in the world part of it. No, I have to connect to the godly part of it. And the distance between the worldly part of it and the godly part of it is absolute. Right? It's from one end of the spectrum to the other. And that was the purpose of the creation of the world. That there should be a revelation of Atzmos, which means you and I experience our existence by virtue of ourselves. We should overcome that experience mitzad, the chitzonius of it, the external aspect of it, and relate to the panemius of it, and the internal aspect of that experience is that the true source of our being is Atzmos Yisbarach, is the essence of the Kodesh Baruch. And that's what this world's all about, is revealing that. That's what a Veda in this world is. Now, what does this all explain in our Maimer Bosi leGani? And with this we'll stop, and I'm sorry we went so far late. Over. The Rebbe doesn't mention those words here, but that's what he's explaining. At the end of we saw it about 4 times at the end of Ois Aleph, the Frierdiker Rebbe explains the advantage of the light that comes from the dark. But now we understand how to translate that. It's not the advantage of the light that comes from the dark, or the greatest light comes from the dark, which is how you would understand it within the context of the Frierdiker Rebbe's Maimer. It's something that has an advantage over light comes from the dark. Something that has a yitron al or, something beyond or, comes from the dark. What's that?
Like etzem.
Why are you using those two as if they're synonymous?
I thought the next Bahamas.
Atzmos is the Eibishter. Get Nefesh Bahamas out of there. Atzmos is the Eibishter. I'd say that was in terms of you and me. Atzmos is the Eibishter. Kodesh Baruch Hu. There's no Nefesh Bahamas. There's no Nefesh Elokis. There's no light. There's nothing. Just Him. Ein od movade. There's nothing else. Don't think about Nefesh Bahamas and don't think about Nefesh Elokis and don't think about light and nothing. Just Him.
So what's the advantage of darkness in that case?
We explained that at great length in this. Explained that at great length, and you're going to have to go over it. You're going to have to take this downstairs at some point tonight and go over it and learn it again so we'll understand it, and it won't be an interesting experience at 7:30 in the morning when I'm only half awake anyway, and then I forget it completely, so when we start learning the next day, I haven't seen it, it's not part of me, and there's 3,000 things that happen in between what I learned in the morning and what I'm learning the next morning. If I don't review it, I won't remember it, I'll know nothing. If I review it, I'll be able to digest it. In a Veda, yes, Nefesh Bahamis is ultimately that which allows you and I to connect to Atzmos, but don't make Nefesh Bahamis Atzmos. Atzmos is Atzmos, it's the Eibishter. Right? Yes, what allows you and I to connect to that down here? The fact that we have a Nefesh Bahamis, and that Nefesh Bahamis gives us this false experience of existence by virtue of ourselves, which is a revelation of Atzmos. Yes, 100%. But not that Nefesh Bahamis is Atzmos. Atzmos is Atzmos. The Eibishter is the Eibishter. And there's nothing else, not the highest level of godly light, nothing. There's just that. When you talk about Atzmos, Atzmos is Atzmos. Right? So when we say Yisra Nor Abami Nachoshev, the greatest light emerges from the dark, the Rebbe's understanding of that is no longer Yisra. Something beyond light emerges from the dark. And what's beyond light? Atzmos. Not Nefesh Bahamis. Atzmos. Is Nefesh Bahamis part of that equation? Yeah. Once you get down here, 100%. Up there's no Nefesh Bahamis, there's nothing. It's just the Eibishter. What's this world? The place where that's revealed. Wow. That's why this world is not a world of light. Because what does light do? Light makes you unaware of Atzmos. And interesting enough, what will light often do? And this is what, if I spend my whole day chasing light, it becomes very self-serving. It's all about my spiritual experience. If I spend my day chasing Atzmos, well, it's not about me, because there's no me there. Yes, Nefesh Bahamis ultimately is that which allows you and I to experience that existence of virtue of existence by virtue of ourselves. That's true. Right? But when we talk about the Eibishter, we don't talk about a Nefesh Bahamis. We talk about the Eibishter, Atzmus. You and I in a Veda, well, that's exactly why we have a Nefesh Bahamis, and that's why the world looks the way the world looks. The world looks the way the world looks to you and I. What is the world really? A function of godly light emanating downward into Kalim. That's what the world is in terms of its, that's the metaphysics of the world. That's what it is. Okay. But ultimately, once you get down there, there's something deeper than that. So since the light is so concealed by those Kalim, so then what do you become aware of? You don't become aware of light. So you become aware of the essential existence of the cup. Well, but the cup has no essential existence. The cup just exists by virtue of the fact God gives it existence. Of course, I know that. But interesting enough, what's its revealed reality? It just is. Wow. So this cup is revealing existence by virtue of itself. It's revealing the essence of God. That's Elam Hazeh.
So the purpose of our world,
The purpose of our world is to reveal the essence of God. That's what the Rebbe just said. And this is the place to do it. And can you do it in Elam Abriya? No, it's not revealed there. The only place it's revealed is down here. Why? Because there's no light. Up there in Atzmus, is there any light? No. Matter of fact, it's referred to by Kabbalah as darkness. Darkness.
wow.
Wow, what do you mean darkness? Well, what's darkness? An absence of light. Well, there's no light in Atzilus. In Atzmus. It's beyond light.
So how does the Nefesh Hape serve to